Hey film fans, welcome to CinePro, your ultimate hub for all movie recaps. From heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters, the movie begins with an asteroid approaching Earth. All the countries of the world come together and decide to launch missiles at it, successfully destroying it. However, the problem arises when chemical debris from the asteroid falls to Earth, turning animals into violent giant monsters. A year after these events, Earth has lost 95% of its population. The remaining survivors were hiding in caves out of fear. 7 years later, Joel is still alive in a bunker with a group, but he feels lonely. He was always cautious, but the problem was that he didn't know how to fight monsters and didn't join the groups that went to the surface to gather supplies. Instead, he preferred to help them with other tasks and always loved drawing the monsters he saw. The group's ammunition had run out years ago, and now they used weapons like axes and bows. One day, while Joel was trying to practice with the bow, suddenly the power went out in the bunker, and they were told that monsters had breached their shelter. Some of them moved to confront the intruders. The group faced trouble, and Joel was forced to use his bow to help them. While everyone was searching for the intruder, Joel was shocked to see a monster eating one of his friends. Just as the monster was about to attack him, and Joel was unable to defend himself, fortunately, his friends killed the monster before it could harm him. We go back to the past. Before the end of the world, Joel was with his girlfriend, Amy, after drawing her a funny picture. Suddenly, they were interrupted by the sound of an alarm warning them about the asteroid's fall to Earth. Each of them quickly returned to their families. In the present, Joel uses the radio to communicate with other bunkers and speaks with Amy. He tells her about the letters he wrote to her, but the radio suddenly cuts off. We flash back to the past when Joel was saying goodbye to Amy before they each fled with their families. In the present, Joel asks his friends about Amy's colony and learns that it is 85 miles away. To reach it, he would need 7 days, and it was impossible for anyone to survive outside for that long. Despite his friends' warnings, Joel decides he won't stay hidden anymore and sets out to find Amy. He begins exploring the outside world, seeing the destruction, plants, and monsters covering everything. He walks for hours and suddenly hears the sound of a monster approaching. He runs to hide in a refrigerator, but when he opens it, he finds a monster inside. Terrified, he escapes, but outside, he encounters a giant frog that attacks him with its tongue. He manages to dodge it just in time. At that moment, a dog appears, barking at the frog. Joel takes the opportunity to escape, but the frog catches him with its tongue and starts pulling him. Fortunately, the dog bites the frog's tongue, freeing Joel. Joel and the dog run away and hide in an old bus. The frog leaves, and Joel realizes the dog had been hiding there for a long time with its owner, who had since passed away. Joel spends the night in that place, and the next day, he decides to take the dog with him, even wearing the owner's clothes to make the dog feel comfortable. During their journey through the ruined city and forests, Joel and the dog enjoy each other's company, playing together. The dog even prevents Joel from eating poisonous berries. After some time, Joel accidentally falls into a pit filled with bones, which turns out to be a monster's nest. Suddenly, creatures attack, and Joel struggles to fend them off. Fortunately, a rope drops into the pit, allowing him to escape. He discovers that the ones who helped him were Clyde and Minnow. As they escape, and the monsters follow, Clyde skillfully kills them and throws a grenade into the pit to finish off the rest. The three of them travel together, teaching Joel how to use a bow and giving him survival lessons. They tell him they're heading to a mountain where the cold weather is too harsh for the monsters to survive. Suddenly, a giant monster approaches them. Clyde and Minnow hide Joel inside the monster's shell, revealing that it is peaceful and walks away without harming them. They explain to Joel that he can tell if a monster is peaceful by looking into its eyes. At night, they teach Joel more about monsters to add to his notes. After a few days, the group reaches a point where they must separate, as each of them has their own destination. Clyde bids farewell to Joel and gives him a grenade before they part ways. Joel and the dog continue their journey. When they reach a swamp, the dog refuses to cross and hides. Joel hears a noise, and suddenly, a massive monster emerges from the ground. Joel prepares to shoot it with his bow, but the monster throws him aside. The monster notices the dog hiding and begins circling around its hiding spot. Joel remembers the day he escaped with his family, witnessing their death in a car accident while he survived. In the present, as the monster is about to kill the dog, Joel decides he won't lose anyone he loves again. He shoots the monster with his bow and manages to kill it. Later, Joel and the dog escape the rain and enter an abandoned building. There, they find a robot named Mavis with 51 minutes of power remaining. Mavis helps Joel use GPS to learn that he is only 10 miles away from the colony. Robots like Mavis were advanced technology before the apocalypse, and Joel never had the chance to interact with one. Mavis uses the radio to help Joel contact Amy, who tells him survivors have arrived at her colony to help them. The call ends abruptly as Mavis's battery runs out. Before shutting down, Mavis accesses its database, showing Joel photos and videos of his family. Joel cries as he watches and hugs the robot before it powers off. The next day, Joel and the dog continue their journey. Joel almost falls into a massive pit, but the dog escapes. Suddenly, Joel encounters a huge monster emerging from the ground. He throws a toy to distract it and runs away with the dog. After running a long distance in the forest, Joel falls down a hill near a river. The dog's owner's clothes fall out of Joel's bag and into the water. Joel hides with the dog, but the monster doesn't see them. The dog notices the clothes in the water and goes to retrieve them, drawing the monster's attention. Joel acts quickly, throwing a grenade at the monster and diving into the water before it explodes. Joel emerges on the shore, covered in strange insects from the water. He brushes them off, yelling at the dog for what it did. The dog gets upset and walks away. Joel continues alone, but the insect venom begins to affect him, causing hallucinations. He remembers the plant Clyde mentioned that neutralizes toxins and eats it before losing consciousness. When he wakes up, he sees a group of people approaching him. It turns out they are not hallucinations. It is Amy and her group of survivors. The one who brought them, the dog he has, makes Joel very happy and causes him to faint. At another time, Joel wakes up in Amy's hideout feeling better. She tells him that there's a captain and his crew who arrived at their colony, promising to transport them to a safer place. Everyone is busy gathering their needs to leave. Joel wanders around to see the colony and notices that they are by the beach. He meets some pirates, Dana, Rocco, and Captain Brooks. When Joel is with Amy, she tells him that she moved here some time ago and became friends with someone else, but he died because she thought she'd never see Joel again. Afterward, Joel tries to contact his colony, but it's useless. He looks at the map and finds messages from his friends, realizing he left a group who truly cared for him for nothing. At that moment, the colony responds, and everyone is proud that Joel is still alive and reached his goal. They inform him that there are extremists around, but before they can continue, the connection cuts off. Joel decides he must return to his friends, but then he notices that the food being served to them contains poisonous berries, meaning the ship's crew is hiding something. He quickly runs to warn Amy, who is celebrating with the others. Before Joel can say anything, Dana knocks him out. The next day, Joel wakes up tied up alongside Amy, with all the survivors captured because they were drunk the night before. Dana blows up the radio tower, and Brooks reveals that he and his crew travel around stealing supplies from colonies. They start moving their ship, which is controlled by a giant sea monster they manipulate with electricity. At that moment, the monster emerges, and everyone runs to hide. Amy manages to free herself and Joel. They run quickly toward Rocco, who shoots at them. Amy dodges the bullets, fights him, and eventually knocks him out. Meanwhile, Joel grabs a spear and charges at the monster, stabbing it. He manages to knock it down, but realizes it's still alive. When he tries to retrieve the spear, Brooks uses electricity to control the monster, causing Joel to get electrocuted and fall to the ground. At that moment, Amy regains consciousness and starts fighting Dana. Amy struggles to overpower her, and the monster wakes up, starting to destroy the colony. The dog comes out and starts barking at the monster. Dana tries to shoot the dog, but Amy hits her arm, causing the bullet to hit the monster instead. Amy then manages to defeat Dana. Brooks arrives and strikes Amy, ordering his men to move to the ship and make the monster more aggressive. The dog reaches Amy and tries to wake her up. Brooks continues electrocuting the monster to make it more hostile. The monster approaches Joel and roars at him. It grabs him and pulls him closer. At that moment, Amy throws a weapon to Joel. He catches it and prepares to finish the monster, but looking into its eyes, realizes it's a peaceful creature being controlled. The real monster is Brooks. Joel shoots at the chain controlling the monster, freeing it. The monster leaps into the water, heads to the ship, devours Brooks and his crew, and destroys their ship. Moments later, when everyone is safe, Joel says goodbye to Amy and gives her his journal so she can learn more about the monsters. He feels happy about the journey because it made him a better person. Joel sets off again with the dog and successfully returns to his friends, who welcome him warmly. Joel sends messages over the radio to everyone, teaching them how to survive and advising them to head to the mountains, as the cold there deters the monsters. Joel and his friends head to the mountains, where they meet Clyde and Minnow, and the other colonies follow their lead. And that's it. If you like the movie, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell.